After years of heartbreak, loneliness, and learning to live on her own, a widowed woman's quiet life takes an unexpected turn when a threat from the past forces her to hire a bodyguard. She never imagined he'd be young, fearless, and impossibly handsome. But as danger closes in, so does the distance between them. Is she ready to open her heart again? Or will her past keep love locked away forever? The film begins with a beautiful woman named Charlie, the founder and CEO of a prominent fashion company in the US recently. She's caught the attention of the media as people have grown curious about her love life, especially since she separated from her husband 2 years ago. Since becoming a widow, Charlie has had a few romantic relationships, but they all eventually ended in failure. The media is constantly trying to uncover the identity of her new boyfriend, but Charlie prefers to remain silent, saying that for now, she wants to focus on her business, which is currently on the rise. After a media interview, Charlie receives a phone call from a friend and business partner, Laura. During the call, Laura brings up the company's fashion designer, a man named Godfrey, emphasizing that he has great potential. However, Charlie, who is also the majority shareholder of the company, disagrees and believes Godfrey is not a good designer. Despite Charlie's opposition, Laura insists on keeping Godfrey, arguing that he is one of the company's co-founders and has a say in decision-making. When Charlie returns to the office, she receives a report that Godfrey entered her office without permission and used her computer. This enrages Charlie, and she immediately fires him. This action infuriates Laura, who is upset that Charlie made such a decision without consulting her. In fact, over the past year, Charlie has repeatedly made unilateral decisions, and Laura feels increasingly ignored. During a company meeting, Charlie once again announces the launch date of a new product line without discussing it with the team. This leads to a heated argument between her and Laura. Fed up with Charlie's behavior, Laura accuses her of being selfish and dismissive of teamwork. The scene then shifts to a different location, where two bodyguards, Vardas and Johnny, are shown protecting their boss. However, the boss sexually harasses a woman, and in response, Johnny beats him up. As a result, Johnny is fired from his job. A few days later, Charlie receives a mysterious package containing a doll and a threatening letter. While Charlie doesn't take the threat seriously, Laura becomes concerned and suggests bringing the matter to the board of directors. Worried about Charlie's safety, Laura proposes hiring a bodyguard. Charlie, however, refuses, not wanting to feel scared or restricted. Still, Laura tries to persuade her, explaining that the bodyguard would only be a temporary measure, just until the police can resolve the situation. The next day, as Charlie is about to leave for work, he suddenly spots a suspicious-looking man in his yard. Terrified, he immediately calls the police to report the incident, assuming the man is planting a bomb under his car. Before ending the call, he sprays the man in the face with pepper spray, unaware that the man is actually Johnny, a bodyguard hired by Laura to protect him. Johnny introduces himself and explains that he was employed by Laura for Charlie's protection. Charlie is skeptical at first, but after hearing his explanation, he eventually accepts that Johnny is indeed his personal bodyguard. Due to the misunderstanding, Charlie probably calls Laura and expresses his frustration about her hiring someone without. However, since Laura has already signed a contract with Johnny, Charlie reluctantly agrees to give Johnny a chance, on a trial basis for just 2 days. Once the misunderstanding is cleared up, both apologize to each other. Johnny also admits he should have contacted Charlie before starting the job. Charlie asks Johnny to cuddle like him, but firmly insists he sit in the passenger seat, because Johnny is not his chauffeur. On the way, Charlie asks Johnny whether he is one of those bodyguards who would be willing to take a bullet for the employer. Realizing it's a kind of test, Johnny talks about his commitment to his duty and emphasizes that he always performs his job with precision and seriousness. A few moments later, they arrive at a hospital. Charlie tells Johnny to stay in the car and doesn't allow him to come inside. But Johnny, feeling responsible for Charlie's safety, follows in anyway and sees Charlie speaking with the doctor about the treatment costs for a young cancer patient. When Charlie finishes his visit, Johnny starts to wonder if Charlie himself might be ill. He admits that he followed him because he didn't want to risk being blamed by Laura or the board of directors if anything were to happen to Charlie. Aside from his sense of duty, Johnny explains that seeing sick women makes him uncomfortable, as his own mother passed away from leukemia. He hopes Charlie will talk to him about his illness, but Charlie simply smiles and says he's healthy and does a wish to explain his business at the hospital. Johnny tries to carry out his duties as a bodyguard properly without interfering in Charlie's personal affairs. When Charlie's business is done, Johnny escorts him home to make sure he's safe. At the end of the day, the two share a light joke as they say goodbye. Still, Johnny's curiosity about Charlie doesn't go away. He returns to the hospital to try and find out more about him, but the doctor refuses to reveal any information. Meanwhile, Godfrey suddenly receives a message from an anonymous sender. The person identifies themselves as the one who's been sending threatening messages to Charlie and wants Godfrey to collaborate with them. The next day at work, Charlie accidentally spills his coffee, soaking Johnny's clothes. He asks Johnny to wait in the restroom while he brings him a change of clothes. But when he comes back and sees Johnny, he's shocked. Johnny is a large, muscular man with a visible scar on his right leg. Out of curiosity about the scar on Johnny's leg, Charlie starts digging into his past. She discovers that Johnny once served in the Navy and had saved the lives of 3 women during a bomb explosion. Charlie realizes that the scar on his leg is from that very incident. Moments later, Charlie receives a strange phone call from a mysterious man who threatens to kill her. Upon investigation, it's revealed that the call came from a company phone, but none of the staff recall seeing anyone suspicious. Following the incident, Johnny suggests reporting the matter to the police so they can check the security camera footage. Worried about Charlie's safety, advises her to stay home and rest for a few days. She also asks Johnny to stay with Charlie during this time and protect her. On their way back, Johnny asks Charlie if she suspects any of the employees. First, Johnny suspects Godfrey, a recently fired designer, but Charlie dismisses the idea, saying Godfrey would never dare do something like that. Johnny then wonders if Charlie's ex-husband might be involved, but she explained that their divorce was entirely amicable. During the conversation, Johnny brings up Charlie's love life and suggests that she might be afraid of getting into a new relationship because of the pain from her past marriage. This comment hurts Charlie, and she asks Johnny to pull over. To prove she's not afraid of love, Charlie suddenly kisses Johnny, but Johnny doesn't respond with warmth. He coldly says she's just trying to deflect from the real issue. His words upset Charlie even more. Johnny quickly apologizes, explaining he didn't mean to hurt her feelings. At that very moment, the mysterious man who's been following Charlie attempts to run her over with a car, but Johnny manages to save her just in time. When they finally get home, Johnny decides to stay the night to keep an eye on Charlie. He takes the opportunity to ask her again about the hospital, because according to the information he's found, Charlie isn't suffering from any serious illness. Now that she trusts him more, Charlie opens up. She's been secretly paying for the treatment of a former employee's child, a young boy battling bone cancer. She explained that the company isn't obligated to help, but her heart went out to the family, so she decided to step in personally. After this confession, the conversation shifts back to the kiss they shared. This time, Johnny admits that he also feels lonely, and he kisses Charlie himself. Unlike the first time, his kiss is mutual, and they both get lost in their emotions. In another scene, it's revealed that Laura was behind the car attack. She had ordered Godfrey to run Charlie over that night. Godfrey reports that he failed because Johnny saved Charlie and even fired a shot at his car. Godfrey, who isn't inherently a bad person, decides he no longer wants to be part of Lara's schemes. He doesn't want to become a fugitive. But Laura, having anticipated this, kills him with a gun identical to Johnny's, planning to frame Johnny if the police investigate. The next day, when Charlie and Johnny arrive at the company, Laura greets them with a distressed face and informs them that Godfrey has been murdered. They then watch the news of Godfrey's death on TV, at which point Charlie suddenly remembers a car that nearly ran him over the night before as he was returning home. Moments later, police officers arrive at Charlie's company to investigate Godfrey's murder. Armed with his search warrant, they seize Johnny's gun and prepare to question both Johnny and Charlie about the incident. During the interrogation, the officers try to gather information about their whereabouts on the night of the crime. Both Charlie and Johnny honestly say they were at Charlie's house that night, but unfortunately, there are no witnesses to confirm their alibi. Based on evidence found at the crime scene, the police conclude that the bullet which struck Godfrey's car might have been fired from Johnny's gut. Johnny denies the accusation, but the officers raise an even more dangerous theory. Perhaps Charlie was the one who ordered Godfrey's murder. When Johnny realizes the police are ignoring their statements, he decides to make he attacked the officers and drags Charlie out of the company with him. While Charlie would prefer to prove his innocence legally, Johnny is worried they won't be able to. He believes someone is trying to frame them. At the same time, Laura, angry about Charlie's escape, tells the media in an interview that Charlie was the one who had Godfrey fired from the company. Her statement makes Johnny suspicious of Laura, since he wouldn't expect such behavior from someone who used to be a close friend and business partner. Now that they're being hunted as the main suspects, Johnny decides to come up with a plan to uncover the truth. But first, they need a safe place to hide. Fortunately, Johnny has a friend named Vargas, a former Navy comrade who now works as a personal bodyguard. When they arrive at Vargas's house, he initially refuses to help, having already heard about their involvement in the murder case. Johnny tries to win him over by reminding him of the favors he once did for him, but gets no response. In the end, Charlie offers a substantial amount of money. That night, Vargas receives a call from a creditor demanding repayment. At the same time, he sees Lara's image on the news and suddenly decides to work with her to make more money. In a meeting with Lara, Vargas demands $200,000 in exchange for revealing Charlie's location. But Lara isn't satisfied with just the information. She sets a condition. If Vargas wants to receive that kind of money, he must also eliminate both Johnny and Charlie. Unaware of Vargas's sinister plan, Johnny and Charlie spend the night reconnecting, sharing love, warmth, and rekindled emotions. The next morning, Johnny sets out to seek help from another old friend, but this move makes Charlie suspicious. He begins to worry that Johnny might be hiding something. As they engage in a heated argument, Vargas prepares to strike. Fortunately, Johnny notices just in time and stops him from shooting. He tells Charlie to get the car ready so they can escape, while he faces off with Vargas. When Johnny and Charlie realize that Vargas is hunting them down, they grow suspicious and begin to suspect that Vargas has been hired by Laura. During the ensuing chase, Charlie actually already knows that Vargas is following them, but he says nothing to Johnny. Instead, he decides to lure Vargas into a specific house. Once Vargas enters the house, Charlie deliberately restrains Johnny so he can't move, then leaves him alone to secretly record the confrontation with Vargas. When Vargas arrives, Charlie attempts to ambush him from behind, but Vargas catches on to his plan. In that instant, Charlie tries to bribe him by offering double the pay in hopes of getting him to talk about his collaboration with Laura. Their conversation is also recorded. After a heated exchange, Vargas manages to overpower and capture Charlie. But before he can shoot them, Charlie reveals that the house actually belongs to Laura. A short while later, Laura arrives at the house. Concerned that the location could become a crime scene, she orders Vargas to move them to an open field. Before they leave, Laura explains her motives. She confesses that over the past, she has felt overlooked as one of the company's co-founders. Unable to remove Charlie, who owns 51% of the company's shares, she decided to eliminate him instead. While Johnny and Charlie are digging their own graves, Charlie apologizes to Johnny and reveals that he had already devised a plan to trap Laura. He confesses that he recorded their conversation with Vargas to hand over to the police as evidence. Just before the police arrive, Charlie deliberately plays the recording aloud for Laura to hear. A physical struggle over the gun ensues between him and Laura, and shortly afterward, the police arrive and arrest her. Police investigations later reveal that the bullet found in Godfrey's body does not match Johnny's gun. Additionally, Charlie's audio recording is presented as evidence, and ultimately, Laura is arrested for her various crimes. After Laura is officially named a suspect, Charlie receives news from the company's board, but they plan to remove Johnny from his position as personal bodyguard. But instead of being upset, Charlie is thrilled because now he can personally hire Johnny and at the same time continue the romantic relationship that has just begun between them.